You know, you never really forget your first JRPG. You might forget the exact plot. You might forget the name of every single villain, but I bet you remember the minigames. You remember racing chocobos. You remember playing blitzball. You remember the stupid jump roping game in Alexandria. You remember triple triad, cooking meals, and the Tails games. And that's kind of weird, right? Because technically these aren't even the game. They're just side distractions. They're not saving the world. They don't do anything to progress the story. So why do they stay with us? Because minigames are in a lot of ways the thing that makes JRPGs feel timeless. Not just good, not just nostalgic. I truly mean timeless. So today I kind of want to talk about why. Here's the thing. When you look back at JRPGs, you're not just remembering a story. Nobody, unless you've played it 1,000 times, nobody remembers every single story beat or every single line of dialogue. But what you do remember are moments. Specific, personal, interactive moments. It's not always the cutscenes where, the big speeches happen. It's not always the boss fight you barely survived. A lot of people remember the snowboarding minigame. Final Fantasy VIII's Triple Triad or Tetra Master, 10's Blitzball, as painful as it was. I loved Blitzball, but I get a lot of pushback when I say how much I love Blitzball. But anyways, people still talk about that stuff, and it's because minigames, 1, they break the pacing. 2, they change the gameplay loop. And 3, they give your brain a different kind of memory. They become emotional anchors. When you think of the main game, your mind doesn't just see save the world. It jumps to, I remember staying up till 3 a.m. grinding cards or playing Chocobo hot and cold or trying to not get struck by lightning 50 times in a row, or the one race where you finally got above, 12 balloons. And in a lot of ways, those very specific memories stick with you because they are specifically your memories. Everybody beats Genova at the end of this one, right? Everybody remembers the same line of dialogue when you get out of Midgard for the first time. It's not scripted, it's not pre-directed, it's just raw personal interaction within the world, and those experiences are yours and yours alone. And the best minigames don't just distract you just to distract you. They exist to make the world feel real. They are world building techniques. It's not just a minigame hub, it's entertainment. It's an entertainment center inside of a certain world, whatever that setting might be. It tells you something about how people are living. It shows you how society distracts itself from collapse. It's really cool. It's especially with Blitzball. Spira is a world that is trapped in endless death and destruction, and yet they still have sports. Why? Because people don't just survive in worlds like in JRPGs. They don't just survive, by pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. They're a lot like the real world, where things get crazy, and sometimes you just need some sports to distract you from the politics of it all. They show you, and this is not just Blitzball, they show you what people are doing for fun, what they care about, what they do to pass the time, and what they're gambling on, and what they celebrate. And they do all this without needing any kind of exposition dump. It's just what they do. It's just daily life. You're not being told what this world is like. You're playing inside of it. And that makes it feel lived in instead of staged. And here's why the best minigames feel separate. And you'll see what I mean by when I say that. A good minigame shouldn't feel like, hey, here's more of the same gameplay, but worse. It should feel like a completely different game inside your game. Triple Triad isn't some, like a variant on the battle system or the junction system. It's a card strategy game on its own that people actually still play online to this day. Chocobo Racing isn't just running around the field faster. It's literally a racing game. Blitzball isn't turn-based combat. It's Blitzball. And because of that, they give your brain a break from the core loop. Instead of, fight, story, fight, cutscene, dungeon, fight, whatever, it becomes fight, story, card game, racing, cooking, back to the story. And it keeps the experience very fresh. It keeps you mentally engaged and it keeps you emotionally connected to this world. It stretches the game's personality. And I do want to highlight one very specific, my favorite minigame of all time, and it's in Suikoden 2, and it's the cooking minigame. As somebody who literally was obsessed with like the cooking channel and like Iron Chef and like Chopped and all those, cooking shows, the cooking minigame in Suikoden 2 is literally the best minigame for me. And is there an actual full-on video game that is just cooking, like cooking competitions? Because if there isn't, there should be. I swear that thing would sell. Now, I want to talk about when minigames go a little too far. Because look, not all minigames are created equal. Some of them kind of cross that line and they stop being these charming distractions and start being actual obstacles between you and the game you're trying to enjoy. And we all have nightmares of these. I'm talking about the jump roping in Alexandria, the lightning dodges in 10, the chocobo balloon race in 10. Like, why do these suck? Because they break the immersion, because it's very easy to get frustrated in them. They break the pacing because sometimes, like, if there's an OCD factor to all of this, where I tried and I still have never done the lightning thing. I've done the balloon thing in 10. I think I've done the balloon thing in 10. I've never done the lightning thing, dodges, but I spent hours and days and weeks on it. And it's so frustrating. And well, actually, ironically, even the bad ones kind of do stick to your memory. And because the sheer audacity of asking somebody to jump rope, what is it, like 1,000 times in Alexandria, is just psychotic and diabolical in every sense of the word. But weirdly enough, that frustration does become a little bit a part of the legacy. These are iconic minigames we're talking about here. The jump roping. I've never gotten past literally 70, maybe 60 or 70. I suck at that stuff. People still talk about them. People still joke about them, and they still challenge themselves with it. Even when they're awful, they become a part of the game's identity. And here's where things get a little interesting. A lot of modern JRPGs have largely stopped trying. Or when they do include minigames, they feel very safe and tiny and forgettable, and they feel like just purely optional side content. And all this is, but if you're not playing like Tetramaster or Triple Triad, you feel like you're missing out. Not with a lot of newer RPGs. They don't feel necessarily deep or memorable or embedded. This is important. Embedded into the world. They feel like checklist content, something thrown in for completion percentages. Older JRPG minigames felt like here's a weird idea. Let's put a cooking minigame into Suikoden 2 and just go all in with it. And it's amazing. Newer ones feels like the devs are kind of just giving you minigames just to stop you from complaining, and that is all the difference, because they don't feel timeless. They feel very disposable. And I want to talk about this whole thing because we're talking about the timelessness of minigames, how they protect a game from aging, because graphics age, combat systems evolve or devolve, voice acting standards change, UI can be outdated, but minigames, they kind of exist outside this time bubble. They aren't judged on their polygons or their frame rate or resolution or animation quality, unless the game is so freaking bad that all that stuff has to be taken into account. They're judged on how creative they are, how fun they are, what the personality and how memorable they are, and how deep they can be. That's when you go back to like an old JRPG today, and those mini games still hold some kind of power and sway over you. They feel like little worlds inside your game, and that's what makes them timeless. And years from now, people won't just talk about Final Fantasy VII's plot points, as many as they are. They'll talk about Gold Saucer and Chocobo breeding and Triple Triad and the lightning dodges for better or worse, or the cooking stuff and Suikoden. Those weren't just gameplay things. They weren't just story scripted things. Those were experiences. They were a little more personal than just the side quests inside these massive, epic tales. And maybe that's why JRPGs from certain eras feel particularly timeless. Not because they were necessarily perfect or because they had better or not so great like sprite graphics, or because their stories were completely flawless. Because inside all that seriousness, they let you play and have fun and unplug. And I think that's just what makes minigames timeless. And that's what makes a lot of those games timeless. Let me know if you agree. I got stuff to do. I got to run. Have an amazing day. I hope you guys all have an amazing Thanksgiving. And if you're outside the United States, just having a great week is good enough. God bless. Take care. Don't forget to like and subscribe.